Hey guys, it's Pia
And I'm Bob.
from Strange Suspicion, and you're watching
Murder, Metal, Mayhem.
This is Pete Altieri of Murder Metal Mayhem, and I have the privilege to be interviewing Pia and Bob from the Strange Suspicion channel here on YouTube. I recently found them here and love their content. It's very original and unique among the channels here on the platform. And I've been looking forward to talking to these guys about their channel, about some true crime, and their musical backgrounds, because we share some of that. And so how's it going, guys? How you doing?
Good.
pretty good. Going good so far today.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, it's the weather here in the Midwest is pretty amazing. So definitely loving that where I am. And it's hopefully winter has passed behind us, but we'll see. We'll see.
Right? Yeah. It's getting a little warmer too.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. Yeah, warmer is better to a degree. Pun intended there, but now I stumbled on your channel and the first thing that came to mind was, hey, this is a female drip drop. That was the first thing I saw, but then that quickly changed when I started to watch what you do, and really there's a lot more going on there, a lot more substance. And I'm not saying anything negative against drip drop. I'm just saying that was that was the comparison. What do you think about that? And do you get that a lot from people?
We do get that sometimes. I think like at first glance, people see the face paint and they think like drip drop, and I'm doing true crime. Drip drop is some creator. I highly recommend anybody to watch.
I love his stuff. I mean, I don't agree with everything. But then again, you know, we're not supposed to agree on everything, or it would be a pretty boring world, wouldn't it? You know,
that's right. We all have our own opinions and brains, and you know what I mean. Look at things from different perspectives. But he's really good at that. So I wouldn't take that away from him. But I think that our style, like the way that we incorporate humor, and I don't know if you know about it, but Easter eggs in our videos, we do a lot of different things than drip drop. I don't know, like
I think the closest similarities are that we're in true crime, maybe.
Yeah, and I mean, it's for good reason. I'm sure he's concealing his identity for good reason, and so are we.
Yeah, and that was what made me think of it too. Not just the makeup part of it, but just the concealment, which. You know, you guys certainly do that. I don't, only because I'm a writer and my books are out there. I mean, I knew that going into this, like, it's me and this is who I am and I'm doing this. But I get it that people want to be more careful about it. So there's another creator too that does it that I think is really good. Have you heard of the Captain Howdy? He's pretty good. I've heard of it, but I don't think I've seen any of it. Does he do that too?
Completely though. Yeah,
it's pretty cool. He does a lot on the Delphi case.
Yeah.
Oh wow, definitely have to check that out.
Like his whole
he does like a
persona.
It's kind of like our room here. It's kind of set up like that, and he's sitting in a chair by a fire. It's just a shadow.
Oh,
like kind of like a video game. Avatar.
I wonder if I have seen something like that. I think I have seen that. Now that you say that with the fire, I seem to remember.
Yeah, like that. Yeah, he's sitting in a chair, right?
Back to the back there. He's great.
Yeah.
He's a really good, he conceals his identity. So I think that's super smart.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, I got, 30 years doing some of what I do, and my name's been out there, and I just knew that was how I was going to go about it. But I just wanted to bring that up only because, there's a lot more to what you do than that, makeup that you wear, because I was very impressed. I really love the editing too, the way you guys put what you do together. I think that's really slick. I really like it because I don't do any of that kind of stuff really. So I appreciate, because I know video editing can be a real pain in the ass. What little I do, I know that, so.
It's just kind of like music editing.
That's true. That's true. That's for sure. Now, Pia, I was also checking out your info and from our back and forth emails before we did this, that you've got a tremendous amount of education in your background, which is really awesome. And I'd love to hear more about that and how that kind of ties into maybe what you're doing on the podcast or your channel.
Sure. Yeah. So I have 4 college degrees, and 2 of them are master's degrees. That's how it works out to 4. But 2 of them are psychology. One is my bachelor's, and then one of my master's is psychology. So I feel that, like, in true crime, it brings kind of just a little bit of extra perspective in the same way that A.R. Hayes or Christina Randall have their own, like, strength that they bring to the community. I feel that, like, mental health is a huge part of these kind of crimes. Like, there's a lot of people obsessed. There's a lot of people that have mental illness that has not been treated or trauma in their past. And I think it just brings a different angle to it. But I think also having people close in my life who have been, their lives were taken by another person and they didn't get any justice, I feel like that kind of drives me just as much as my education.
Yeah, yeah. And the education part of it, that would be cool. I'm doing this new long format videos, and I've been trying to get together different creators and people that I've networked with that have specialties. And so I'd love to call on you to do anything dealing with the psychology side of it. I think that would be really cool. Yeah, that would be awesome. Yeah, because, you know, I got AR for the convict side of it, which is awesome, you know, and I got a buddy of mine that comes on the podcast that's a prison guard, you know, so we do prison stories and stuff like that. It's cool to have him on. So, and he's also does his identity hidden, and we've got an Australian police officer that we have on that's also keeps his identity hidden because he's actively a police officer in Australia, but when we do Australian cases, we have him come on, and it's super cool. So love to be able to pull people together. So it's good to know that that's what your education is in. That's really smart. That's super cool.
Yeah, I would love to work with you on that in any way.
Yeah, for sure. I definitely will let you know. Now, Pia, I know that you and I, when we were exchanging emails, talked about our we've both been in the Army, and I was pretty surprised at that, only because I didn't know that about you at all. So why don't you tell us a little bit about that? Yeah,
I spent 8 years in the Army. I won't say what year, but I spent 8 years in the Army. And I was 74 Charlie, which is, I don't know if you're familiar with every MOS. I'm not, but it was telecommunications systems analyst operator of the UGC-40 AC, which in civilian language would mean that I was sending and receiving government messages with a top secret code. So it was like it was scrambled, but it was privileged information. So that was my MOS, to send it and receive it.
Interesting. Well, I was a 19 Delta, which is Cav Scout, and I also had to have a top secret clearance because I worked with maps and the radios to transmit, you know, troop locations and stuff like that. So that was just an interesting coincidence there, you know, meeting somebody in the true crime world with similar experience. I thought that was super cool. Now, Bob, what's your role here? Other than, you said you make a mean grilled cheese, I've heard, but other than the grilled cheese construction, what else are you doing over there?
I do a lot of the editing, a lot of the researching we do together. Pia's even helped in the editing too. A lot when we set up the videos, we basically talk about together what we're gonna, talk about. We research. Pia films all her things differently from mine, and then we kind of combined them. I scour the internet. I've been trying to throw different things in because we've been focused on the Brian Kohberger case pretty hard, I kind of try to throw a little bit of light humor in there from other news things just to lighten it up, you know, because it is a sad story. I mean, and I'm not trying to like make fun of anything, but I'm just trying to keep it lighthearted for people.
No, I've tried to do the same thing too, because man, you're talking about some dark subject matter. I mean, it gets really depressing.
Yeah.
And I think some well-placed jokes are okay. I think that there's nothing wrong with that, you know. I've done a couple of like spoof type videos myself, and yeah, I mean it's just try to have a little bit of fun with a very dark subject, and that can be touchy. You know, some people don't like that, you know, and I guess they can go somewhere else, you know, if they don't really like it. But I thought that was awesome. My wife and I were watching one of your videos this morning, and it was had Charlie Sheen and Emilio Estevez in a clip. What was that movie?
Guys, whatever. Demolition Man.
Demolition Man. She's like, when you talk to them, ask them what movie that was.
Oh, Repo Man. Is that what it is?
Repo
Man.
Repo
Man.
There was two different films that I used. Yeah, I try to like
tell the Kool-Aid guy thing.
Yeah, in our last video, I threw the Kool-Aid guy in there. There was a story like, from the 90s that there was some or actually it was probably like in 2007 or 8 maybe. There was a bunch of kids running around like busting through people's fences, yelling, "Oh yeah!" And like I caught it on camera. I just threw that in there as funny. And then
that's
another
awesome.
thing, the Acorn cop. Did you hear that story?
I don't think so.
Sorry, I wasn't trying to interrupt, but the Kool-Aid guy, to expand on that, the way in which Bob will do the humor, you kind of have to catch it. Like right after the Kool-Aid guy. Sorry for interrupting you though, but you go ahead. You go ahead. The Kool-Aid guy.
Yeah, I threw a little snippet of. Yeah, put me on.
The guy that the people that drank the Kool-Aid, right?
Yeah, the Kool-Aid drinker people.
Reverend Jones.
Yeah.
There you go. Yeah. So you
threw a little clip there. Just I don't know. It wasn't really funny, but yes.
No, I'm saying that like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, I got a Jim Jones mask in here, so I got a bunch of crazy masks. You can only see a couple of them in the shop, but I try to rotate them around. I sent you some pictures right before we started of the studio with all the masks, so you could see them all. So they're
I honestly own a Jim Jones T-shirt.
Yeah,
I got a Jim Jones T-shirt too. Says I survived Jim Jones or something like that. Yeah. Something. Like
we were to the ministry show, right? Yeah.
Nice. So what is it that got you guys into true crime? I mean, what was there something that happened? I know Pia, you mentioned with your family. I'm sure that was obviously traumatic, but I mean, what was there something before that, or what was it that got you guys into it?
Well, Bob also has been affected by that, by the loss.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I've had loss in my family, but what really got me into true crime, I think, was probably my love for horror movies. And the movie in particular that kind of like made me look into that was Last House on the Left. I think they in the beginning it says it's based on true. You know, and as a young man, I was like, what? Okay. I looked into that, and just like my mom was into true crime. I remember my mom talking about Ted Bundy and it just going like this, you know. And then it's like I think like the metal music and the horror movies, it got me turned on to that.
Oh yeah. It goes hand in hand. It's like chocolate and peanut butter. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Exactly. And I've been in I was in the haunted house industry for quite a long time. So we kind of like try to like mesh what we're experienced with and try to like bring it in our like own style, because I know every YouTuber in the true crime genre has their own style. I mean,
right.
We respect them all for different reasons, every single creator, except I guess people that go off subject. I don't really have a lot of respect for them. Like when they don't make it about true crime, then I just turn it off, I guess.
Yeah, there's some of them that get in the weeds with the pissing matches between themselves, and then there's one channel, I'm not even going to say it, but that made some like negative remarks about the way people look that are doing the different channels. Like, dude, like seriously, what is wrong with you? Like, why would you even go there with it? It's just, to me, it cheapens it, and it makes us look like idiots when people hear that kind of crap. I just don't like it because there's no need for it. You know, I mean, there's so many channels out there. There's so many other places a person could go if they just don't like it. Just go somewhere else. You know,
right? It's just one click.
Exactly.
They click to get on, they can click to get off. Right?
Yeah. Yeah, I know for me, the Son of Sam case, I've mentioned it in other interviews before, but the Son of Sam case, because I grew up in that area, was a big moment because, I mean, I was probably 10 or 11 when that happened in the 70s. So that was, you know, remember my grandma calling us in, you know, when it was getting dusk out to be inside because he was still out there, you know.
Oh my God.
And that was pretty crazy, you know. And then my mom was a secretary for an attorney who represented Hella Crafts, who was the lady in Connecticut that her husband put her through a wood chipper, killed her, chopped her up, froze the parts, and then put the parts through the wood chipper. And was the first case in Connecticut that was a conviction without a body, of murder without a body. But Richard Crafts was the guy's name. But my, you know, hearing this kind of stuff at the dinner table definitely got me super interested in true crime. And so I've been just really all about it too. And like you said, Bob, with the music, you know, listening to metal, a lot of death metal, thrash metal, stuff like that is what I like. You know, there's all kinds of those types of subjects, and then the videos, I mean, and horror, it all does tie together so much. And that's why on Murder Metal Mayhem on the podcast, we do murder and we do true crime subject, and then we'll do a metal subject on a band or a person or whatever. And then Mayhem's just kind of a catch-all, just crazy stuff. Right. So we do it that way, and we think that the metal and murder goes well, but with the algorithm on YouTube, it doesn't go well. So that's why I had to move all the metal stuff to a different channel, because they didn't know what to do, and we weren't getting any people watching the videos. And then as soon as I separated them, it changed dramatically. So anybody watching this, if you're a creator, try to stick to one type of, whether it be true crime or basket weaving or, you know, cross-country skiing, whatever it is, you know, stick to that and don't try to do like a catch-all multiple things. It usually doesn't work with that dreaded algorithm. But
true.
I agree.
Yeah. But so what made you guys decide to start the channel? Because I was looking at it, it says that you had started one in 2010. I think that's what it shows as his date when you started, but I didn't know if that's when you actually started posting videos, or was that just a personal channel, or what was that?
Yeah, it was a personal channel, like just like, you know, like home videos or whatever. It wasn't like a creator channel.
Right.
We didn't. So this channel didn't start until November of last year.
It was more.
Oh, okay. All right.
For your haunts, right?
Yeah, it was more set up for personal stuff as well as like my haunted house stuff, because I have acted in 23 states. I just like was traveling all over the place. Yeah, it was really a lot of fun, and I got to travel and see a lot of places and meet a lot of people. So I just like put my stuff up there from like conventions where I was in different pageants and different contests for makeup and acting and
cool
touring around, I guess. So that's what the channel was really used for before, but it wasn't like, it was just like shared with friends of mine, not like posted.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah,
So
that's the same. Ours was started in 2018, but I didn't really do anything with it. But it wasn't until December, so it's just a month after you guys that I started doing, kind of reinvigorating the channel and doing what I'm doing. So
yeah, it's interesting to me. We noticed today that like a lot of creators started 8 months ago, true crime creators, and I don't know what the connection is. Yeah. It was weird. We're 4 months old, but there's people who've been there like years and years.
Yeah, it is interesting when I talk to the different creators in YouTube years. It seems like like a month ago was like old back in the day kind of discussion. You know, it's kind of funny. Like a lot of the ones I've been talking to haven't been doing this that long.
It's crazy.
It is crazy how quick it happens when you kind of hit on a particular nerve, I think, or whatever that does to jiggle something loose. And then all of a sudden it just like, boom, you know? So I thought that was cool. You shared your 666, new viewers or subscribers
we
in
got
the last 28 days.
Yeah, in 1 month. It's been really awesome. Like
that is awesome. Very cool.
A lot of people like tell me that, well, not a lot. Some people tell me that they only listen to us because they don't want to look at this.
Oh, wow.
That's okay. They can listen to it.
Yeah,
so
I've had some people freak out about the 666 thing. I'm like, it's just a goof. I'm not being serious about it. And then I wear the Venom shirt with the Baphomet on it like I'm wearing today, and they're like freaking out. One lady's like, I just can't give any money to somebody that uses that to better themselves or some ridiculous shit. And I'm just like, my gosh, you know, no, it's not like that at all. And so it is funny how they get really hung up so that they won't even look at you, but they'll listen to you. So yeah, that's funny. Yeah, that is funny for sure. I always love it in the comments when somebody says, like, brings up something and it's obvious they didn't watch the video, because then I'm commenting like, I brought that up in the video, like, when did you bow out, you know?
Right?
I mean, geez, they're only 11 minutes and 6 seconds. I mean, you can't give me that, you know?
Right? Exactly. Think about
Right. It is funny though. It's just the type of people you exchange with on these channels is really, but the overwhelming responses are really positive and good. And I think that's awesome. But unfortunately, there's always got to be the trolls out there that want to, you know, be stupid. You know, you guys were just talking before we recorded about a person like an imposter on somebody else's live. Did you want to talk about that?
Yeah. Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So this morning when I woke up, we had taken the day off yesterday. We were like exhausted because we've been doing both lives and premiere videos. So we just decided to take a day for ourselves and weren't online, and then woke up this morning to people telling us that we were impersonated in A.R. Hayes's live.
Wow.
Dinky's live and True Crime Cult's live. And it said strange_suspicion. So if anybody saw that, that's absolutely not us.
Wow.
Not at all. But whoever you are,
stop it.
you will be caught. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's just dumb.
Stop. Please just make your own channel and move on.
Yeah. Now, you talked about the reason that you use the mask and the filters is to reduce, you know, the threat of somebody identifying you. And is there a particular issue you've had like in the past, or is that just something that you've kind of evolved into something you don't want to, you know, disclose?
Just the reason for the identity concealment is just because like I would expect this isn't going to be the only case that we look into. So this one is an open case, and a lot of people have been getting threats, and it was maybe like my 4th or 5th video where I received a very, very graphic threat, and I had to report it to a 3-letter agency. So I'm really glad that I have been concealing my identity from the beginning, because I can't imagine someone trying to track me down because I'm onto something. You know what I mean? Like, that's terrifying.
It's a very valid point, you know, and I brought this up. We were talking about touch DNA in one of my interviews, and I had just sent somebody had bought a Murder Metal Mayhem t-shirt, and I was putting it in the package, and I made a conscious effort not to lick the, you know, the seal. But then I'm like, well, for Christ's sake, my touch DNA is all over this shirt. And so if it goes on someone's couch when they get it, and then God forbid that person was murdered, now my touch DNA is on their couch and I never was in their place at all, you know, and That's why I don't understand these people that get all crazy on the DNA evidence and he's guilty and he's this. I mean, if you really understand it, it's not nearly what they say it is, you know?
Right. It's barely a trace. It's just nothing. And you know what? Somebody could go in a store, like you were saying about a shirt. Somebody could have touched your shirt. Who made the shirt? And then you touched the shirt. And we actually heard about this Asian woman who worked in like a factory that made like the evidence bags. And I think it was, we always get such great information from our Australian people. And I believe it was an Australian or somebody in the UK that told us about this. And it was this woman who worked in a factory where they make the evidence bags. And so they were looking for a serial killer. And they looked for like some ridiculous amount of years and tracked this little woman down who is not a serial killer, but she was blamed for this.
They found her DNA. Wow. They found her DNA in it was Germany. Yeah, they were looking for the serial killer in Germany.
Wow.
So, I don't know if I don't know.
So
I think like it was because her DNA was on all the evidence of all kinds of cases. Do you know what I mean? So they're like, oh my God, it's one person. You know what I mean? But it was just one lady manufacturing some bags.
Evidence bags. Wow.
Yeah, just doing her job.
That's crazy. Yeah, I mean, so that whole concept of DNA really opened my eyes because, you know, when I first heard about this case, you know, doing Murder Metal Mayhem, we do it weekly. So we're changing subjects every week. So it's relentless. And so when this case popped up, it was interesting. But then it's like, well, they got the DNA. I mean, like, what else is there to really, like, the guy did it, you know? So, like, I wasn't really that interested in it. And then I got sucked into the Murdoch trial, which that was just off the rails, you know?
Yeah.
And then after that was over with, I was like kind of jonesing for the next true crime subject to get onto. And then I turned my eyes on Idaho and it was like, wow, you know, just really sucked me in. And I know a lot of people are just so interested in this case. It's really unbelievable. I mean, I could do videos on Delphi on a lot of different subjects and get a quarter, if that, of the views that the Idaho 4 videos get. It's really amazing. Do you guys see that too?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I see a public outcry for justice in this case. That's what I've been noticing. People are like, this is ridiculous because just like you said, we could all be blamed for trace DNA. Like,
right.
I don't ever want to be blamed for something. We drive around aimlessly at night. We live in a beautiful state. We live in a state with a lot of countryside. And I would hate driven past a place and my car or his would be seen and they would tie it to us.
Or I go to look at metal shirts at the store and I touch every one of them.
Right. Yeah.
Because usually you do, right?
So, right. Yeah. I mean,
some people even try on their clothes.
Oh yeah.
That's true. That's a good point, Bob. I mean, yeah, it's really, that's why there needs to be a standard for this. You know, this shouldn't just be like the Wild West with how they're going to deal with this. There needs to be a standard because if it's that easy to transfer like that, then there needs to be some sort of regulation because in this case, there's only 90 DNA. I don't know if they call them markers or what it is, but the minimum for something to be legit is 500. So there's only 18% of DNA that would be considered legit. So, I mean, it's far from a legit sample, you know.
I know this is kind of out there and whatever, but I'm going to throw this out there. On our last video, one of our videos, we were talking about they can pull DNA from the air. Okay. Excuse me. And a lot of these newer tests that they are creating, the police don't have to have the testing done to prove that it actually works. They can just use it to where these companies that are coming up with these DNA testing, they literally have to, like, it has to be legit, but the cops can use it right away and use it in a case
immediately.
Wow.
That's scary, man. It really is.
It is very scary. Yeah. The thing from the air, that's pretty scary too, because they were
yeah, that was an Australian.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
It makes sense because it could be skin cells and those could be airborne. You know, if you had them on your bed and somebody came in and ruffled the sheets and now it's all over the air. So I could see where that would be easily gotten from the air, because I used to work in the environmental field and we used to do air sampling all the time for particulates. So it would consider that the same thing, and that's pretty easy. It doesn't take rocket science.
They did a testing at a zoo and they're like, well, yeah, we have monkey DNA here or whatever, zebra DNA coming from here. So it's pulling it from the air.
Wow.
Yeah, just from the Maromi.
That's unbelievable. So, I mean, when did you guys get were you into Idaho 4 right in the beginning? Personally, I know you didn't start the channel till November of last year, but what about the case? Were you guys right in it right out of the box?
I have always enjoyed Christina Randall's channel, and she usually jumps right on it. So I'm assuming, I think it was like the day or two after that she was compelled to make this video, and just watching her, all the details she already had put together, it seemed like I had to allow people a platform. That's what I wanted, to allow people a platform to say this isn't okay, because having things happen in my life where people were murdered, they've given these victims that I personally know no justice. There's no feeling like that. You have to you're compelled to help. And when I saw it was 4 college students, I couldn't even believe that. I don't know how that's one person. So when I figured out this doesn't make sense, I needed to make it make sense, but you can't do that with just one mind. You know what I mean?
Right. No, it's tough. I know one of the things that drew me in was the fact that Brian Koberger went to DeSales. As soon as I heard DeSales, I remembered I had interviewed Dr. Catherine Ramsland twice for Murder Metal Mayhem, obviously before this happened, but I knew that she taught there and taught criminal justice courses. So then when it came out that, yes, she was one of his professors, I was like, holy crap, but I knew she was getting bombarded with people coming at her for interviews, and she refuses to talk about it. And I believe she's supposed to be a defense witness is what I've heard, which is interesting, because she would have known him very well. And I wouldn't doubt that she was maybe the person that helped him land his PhD program out there, because she knows everybody. She's the nicest person, but she's unbelievably qualified, and written 60 books. I mean, an unbelievable amount of material. She's super cool. And I feel sorry for her that she had to get, the media blitz, and probably feels bad and maybe some guilt, that, wow, could I have said something that maybe caused him to, if he did it, maybe that would be on her,
That'd be a big weight on her shoulders.
Yeah. So it's interesting how people get involved or interested in the cases. So I thought I'd ask you guys about that. And I think a lot of these things that I watched your videos, some of your videos, and I think a lot of this stuff we agree with, but this whole Dylan and Bethany thing, I mean, that's got to be at the top of pretty much everybody's list of just things that don't add up, don't make any sense. What do you guys want to say about those two? Because something's up with them.
I think since they allege that they were present during the crime, that they hold a lot of power. You know what I mean? If they were there and allegedly texting one another, they were honestly, they're the worst people. I don't know how to say
if that's true, that's horrible. I mean, that is
what
horrible.
The hell is going on? And why did they wait hours? And why did they call other people over? Why didn't why weren't they scared is my question.
I couldn't even imagine being in a house with that going on and not calling somebody for help. I mean, it boggles the mind. So that's why I feel they had to be involved in this somehow. I can't imagine that it's just oh, well, put the headphones on and go to bed. I mean,
Yeah.
How would you even think about
it.
going to sleep after something like that happened? You know,
they controlled the amount of time the person had to get away. You know what I mean?
Right.
They're an accomplice.
Yeah, if anything, they're guilty of that crime right off the rip.
Yeah.
So,
I know.
And then they can hide out and they can like be silent. Like, I don't like, why would you want to? Your friends died. Like, you saw your dead friends. I don't know if you could put this in here, but you smelled your dead friends. Like, there's an odor. There's an odor. I've smelled it in the Army, but I swear I've never smelled 4 at a time. Like, that's why maybe the front door was open.
That's what I wondered, if that was open for that reason, or if it was left open to hide the amount of time the bodies were there, because of the cold air would definitely slow down decomposition. I didn't know if that was the reason. Hard to say, because like you said, they called the whole world over there at like 8 o'clock in the morning. I mean, it was ridiculous. I couldn't even imagine somebody calling me over and seeing that and then them not calling 911. I mean, it's not only these two, but I mean, the whole group of them. I mean, what in the world is wrong with you? I mean, I don't care about sorority, fraternity. I mean, give me a break. I mean, that's just outrageous.
You just throw that out the window at that point.
I mean,
I'd be like, well, okay.
Yeah, deal's over, you know. That's
my
deal
friends
is
are
off.
dead, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
I know, it's crazy.
So
that's why
they had to have some
inside info, you know, letting the person know where they were, making sure the door was unlocked, you know, all that kind of stuff. And then I threw out a theory. I called it the lambs to the slaughter. I did a video on it where I don't know if they were even there. I wonder if they either were never there until the morning, or if they were there, it was there at the very beginning and then bowed out before all of it went down. You know, like, okay, these two are in this room, these two are in this room, the backsliding door is open, I'm out. And then they left, you know, and they came back. Yeah. And they had all that time to concoct the story, but I mean, what a ridiculous, I mean, I'm a writer. Okay. So when I'm listening to a story, I'm like when you read or watch something that's poorly written, it's like, this just isn't even believable. That's how this is. I mean, the whole asinine rendition of what they say Dylan experienced is just flat out unbelievable. I mean, it doesn't make any sense. And Bethany's not even in the PCA, you know?
Right. Which is interesting too, because there's so many people in the FBI involved in this. And why do you need so many FBI agents per victim? Like if you, what was it, like 3.5 or 4 FBI agents per victim in this case? And the Moscow Police Department and the state police and probably organizations, I would guess drug trafficking or human trafficking or some kind of under wraps kind of organization, you know? So I feel like maybe they're involved in one of those organizations. I don't know. Maybe they're an informant. They have to be protected if they're an informant.
Right. And that's what A.R. Hayes was saying. He thinks that there's at least one informant in the mix here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
I saw
a co-defendant too, he believes.
Oh, a co-defendant.
Yeah, I'm getting ready to do my first episode of True Crime Deep Cuts is going to be on that very topic of the possibility of a co-defendant. And also I interviewed Lucky, and he was talking about the very first broadcast from the scene, from the local affiliate there. It was a female, I can't remember her name now, but he did a video on it, where he said the very first broadcast from the scene was there were 4 dead, 1 wounded en route to the hospital. Then that was completely gone after that. He has screenshots of a conversation somebody that follows him was messaging this reporter and asked her, did you say that because there's multiple people that obviously saw this. So she said in the messages back and forth that, yes, I did say that. And yes, that's what was going on. And that's all she would say about it. So
we heard that EMTs are a part of this investigation. So,
right. I
the
have a
EMT
feeling
record,
that could maybe be tied together. So I'm going to do a deep cut on it. What'll be outside my 666 seconds format, and just kind of do a video on that, specifically that. So I think I mean, all of our theories, that's the thing about doing speculation, is any of this stuff could be true, right? I mean, and in a case like this, I mean, that's all we have is to speculate.
Who's to say any of it isn't true? You know what I mean? Like, who am I to say I'm going to debunk this or I'm going to debunk that? I don't know for sure anything. We're just given what we're presented,
Right.
Trying to like figure the puzzle out, but we have like pieces that belong to a different puzzle that we don't need to look at. Little ink blot blurbs on a screen. You know what I mean?
Right. No, I think that's definitely how, what I think too. And so, we cover a lot of these solved cases on the Murder Metal Mayhem podcast. So this, on the YouTube channel, I do the current true crime like Idaho, but on Murder Metal Mayhem, the podcast, we do solved cases. What are some of the well-known serial killers that you guys find fascinating? Any that you wanted to mention? Because there's so many of them.
I got a couple I'll mention. Nanny Doss is one of them.
Oh yeah, we just did an episode on her.
Yeah,
wow,
she's pretty cool if you look into that. I mean,
yeah, a couple months ago we did it.
It's a neat story. Also, the Manson family. That whole story is just I believe new information still coming out about that. Just stories and little things come out all the time about that. That's a really interesting case. I mean, I'm sure everybody.
Oh yeah, that's iconic for sure.
I did one of when I got my master's in psychology. My thesis end paper was on serial killers and the behaviors and patterns of serial killers. So most of the serial killers that I are like manipulators, like Ted Bundy and Jeffrey Dahmer, so that I can go into the aspect of all the psychology involved and like even the psychology of the victims. I'm interested in that part too, because some of them have similar personality traits and different exposures to regular society. Easy targets,
Yeah, I know the drifter killers are fascinating. The drifters, because those are tough to catch,
Yeah.
Like that Little, Samuel Little. I mean, that guy was doing that for so long. He was all over the place. Almost impossible to catch. It's crazy. And then, of course, John Wayne Gacy, I've got that mask up there in the corner, but I think that's probably where the fear of clowns comes in. I knew you guys were going to be coming on. I always try to rotate the masks. I'm like, well, that's the closest I have to Pia's makeup there is the Gacy pogo mask. So
See, nobody accused me of trying to be like him. So
that's right. That's right.
That's a plus,
I mean,
right?
that's a fascinating case of, that whole wolf in sheep's clothing thing, a business owner shaking hands with the first lady, marching in the parades. Like you would never have expected a guy like that, or Dennis Rader, Dennis Rader, same thing. It's just, it's fascinating. I just did a panel on Andrew Meyer's channel on BTK. And so that was fun. He asked me on because of the fact that I interviewed Catherine Ramsland, and she wrote that book about him. So that was interesting to talk about that. Been a while since I talked about that case. But Nanny Doss. Yeah, I love Andrew Myers. Yeah, he's
a really good
cool.
channel. He has a lot of wisdom too. Like we all have our own thing. Laney Law. Yeah, sorry about that.
Laney Law. Yeah, I definitely am going to have them on when I have legal stuff that I'm going to get into with those longer videos. So I plan on using all the different creators for different things. So you'll be in the rotation. I can guarantee you that. Of course. What about, what do you think it is about serial killers, true crime that interests people? And it's amazing, women predominantly on our channel. It's 65% are women. So what do you think it is, guys, that draws people into true crime stories, serial killers, any of that?
Our channel's, I think, about 78% women too.
Yeah.
Wow.
I think, people like a good scare sometimes,
I agree.
People
and
like
they're safe. They want to be scared, but they don't want to be in the middle of it. You know what I mean? They're watching from afar,
Exactly.
But in the same way, maybe that person could get to them. You know what I mean?
Sure.
The serial killer that they're scared about, or I think people are very fascinated with motive or pattern. You know what I mean? Maybe they leave something behind, and so they're always looking to see if it's this, especially if they haven't been caught. Like the smiley face or whatever, and then I guess before the Hillside Strangler or any of those people were caught. Yeah. It's probably terrifying.
Well, like I said, as a kid dealing with the Son of Sam, I mean, that went on that whole summer. It was scary. I mean, this 44 caliber killer out there shooting people, it's just wild, I mean, and no rhyme or reason to it, no connection to any of the victims. I mean, it makes these guys tough to catch, and then the taunting the police with the letters, that's a, BTK, the Jack the Ripper, all those one Zodiac that come up in those conversations, those interests me too. Cause I think like, man, that is some balls to be, writing letters. Of course, nowadays, with DNA and everything, you about really can't do that anymore. I guess you can email them, but even that, you got to be careful what you do there, so I don't know how anybody gets away with a crime today, really.
Sure.
Right. There's cameras everywhere.
Yeah. It's unbelievable. Now, I was surprised to hear you guys are both musicians, and Pia, you're even a bass player. There's a certain bond I've got with the bass players because that's what I used to do. But what do you guys want to talk about when it comes to music? What kind of? I know I'm into metal. I told you death metal, thrash metal, little old school metal, but I'm just a metalhead, and I have been since the early '80s. So I've been doing this for a while. But what about you guys?
Well, I started playing bass after I heard. Have you heard of Broken Hope from Chicago?
Oh yeah.
That I wanted to play bass as soon as I heard Broken Hope. So I had been in and out of like death metal bands, and like I was in a punk band once. Always playing bass, never with a pick, never with my amp turned down lower than anyone else. You know what I mean? It was just normal. It was awesome. I had a really great time. I got to travel a lot, and I tend to only like heavy music, I think.
Yeah, me too. Me too. I get into a little bit of the. I used to do prog metal back in my earliest days, so I do like some of that stuff, but 99% it's heavy. Heavier the better. What about you, Bob?
Well, growing up, I was constantly around music. At a young age, I loved recording stuff I heard on the radio and making my own mixtapes growing up. And then about sixth grade, my mom took me to a Metallica concert. It changed my life.
Metallica, come on.
Well, it did.
Cool.
It was different. It was heavy. Metallica was heavy when I saw
them. What year would that have been?
86.
Wow. Well, that's close. I saw him in 84 with Cliff Burton.
Yeah.
On Ride the Lightning, and then I saw him again on Master of Puppets with Cliff, and then that was the tour when he died. So I got to see him twice. But as a bass player, he was a huge influence on me. I mean, wow, what a beast.
Yeah, that was the tour I saw, was Master of Puppets tour, I believe.
Yeah, that's cool.
But that's how I started. It just been in metal. I learned how to play guitar. I've been in bands growing up, teenage years, played drums. I play bass too. I kind of can move around the whole band.
That's awesome.
One band.
Vocals.
Wow. And I make music for the channel. Like, just love music. It's kind of a way to go.
It's like a creative outlet. He likes to paint too, but way into music.
Yeah, I'm an artist, pretty much.
All the way through.
Awesome, man. That's cool. I think that's great. I'm a writer too. I write fiction, horror, thrillers. I do short stories and novels both. But yeah, I think a lot of us that do creative things do multiple creative things, you know, not just one.
That's awesome. I want to check out your work. That's awesome. I would love to see
cool.
that.
Yeah, it's just myname.com is my writing website. And you can, there's free samples of everything that's on there. You can read a story from each one of my books. I've also got 2 audio books. They're on Audible and Amazon and all that, but I also have them available on my website. But I do all the narrations of all the stories on there. And,
it's awesome.
And on the first one I did, I wrote a short story called The 666 Express, and it's about all of us on the podcast, and we win tickets to this bus or this train ride that's supposed to take you from Dallas to Denver, which is 666 miles.
Wow.
I checked it, and it's supposed to do it in an hour. And it's the fastest train in the world. That's the story. So we get on this train, and we're all excited, and then the doors shut, and then it goes real bad, real dark, and real crazy, and it's nuts. And so anyway, I wrote the story, and I thought it was more funny than serious, but my wife, who's my editor, she was like, this is really good. And then my beta readers were like, yeah, this is really good. So I'm like, all right. So I put it in the book, but then I thought it would be funny to have each one of us as our characters read our dialogue. So in the audio book, I have it where I have a narrator, and then each of us, the 4 of us, get on there when we do our dialogue and read the parts ourselves. So
That's
it
awesome.
really turned out funny. And I use an Australian death metal band that I know that does that let us use some of their music, and so I've got that going on while it's happening. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. I did a bonus episode on Murder Metal Mayhem. I'll try to remember to email you the link. You can hear it. I've got it as a standalone like bonus episode. So I'll link to it in the description when you guys are watching this. So if you want to check it out, if you dare. So I'll leave it at that. But I had to ask you guys, because I don't normally get into this on this channel. So it was fun to be able to ask you about that.
Yeah.
Cool.
And I mean, I get people that just freak out about the 666 thing. And, you know, I know you guys have dark imagery, but how do you address that when that comes up about that in your videos? I mean,
we just kind of leave it. You know, we've only had a couple that have kind of complained about some of the imagery that we flash and show, and
that's their problem. I guess.
Yeah, we just kind of left it alone.
Yeah, see, I got the Murder Metal Mayhem forearm, you know.
Ooh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's very realistic.
I see
a guy out of Miami named Spellbound Effects and Art does these.
Well, I know what that is. Yeah, that's awesome.
But this was one he made us for our 100th episode on demonic possession. I said, Tony, just make me something and for that, and this is what he sent me. So pretty cool guy, but does really good work. So yeah, it's definitely not for everybody. And when I get those kind of comments, I'm like, look, it's just like you said, Bob, watching a horror movie. I mean, I don't hear anybody picketing Stephen King and saying he worships Satan or Clive Barker or any of these guys. I mean, so I don't understand why musicians that sing about that kind of stuff are put in that box, during that satanic panic era. And, the case that comes up that you talk about scaring the shit out of you is the West Memphis 3, because that was a case of those 3 guys got railroaded because they were wearing friggin' concert shirts of metal bands. I mean, seriously. And then Damien, the main guy, was writing a lot of horror fiction, as a teenager writing. And I'm thinking, like, hold my beer. I mean, I've got boxes of that crap that I was writing at the same time because I was about his age. And that's scary. I mean, like, you could get, just like with this Touch DNA, you could get scooped up in something and get in the satanic panic, had everybody up in arms, and There was all sorts of people getting convicted of stuff.
Yeah.
I remember that at my school. I got that because I always loved hard, heavy music. I think I wore a Cult shirt, the band,
right,
to school one time, and they called my mom. They said I was worshiping Satan. My mom just laughed. She knew. But.
Right. I know. It's so dumb, but it was a thing. It really was. But
people are going to talk about anything. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah. They're going to find something. They're going to find something. Cool.
I'm glad you do it anyway. You know what I mean? Stay true to yourself.
I respect
it. Yeah, I like how it looks.
Thanks.
I think it looks great. Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely dig it. This is my home away from home. Yeah, right? This is my office. This is Horn's Eye Studios, and it's a cool place, and it's a nice sanctuary from the real world, and just kind of get into this. I write in here sometimes. I do all my videos in here, and then the podcast we record in here as well. But
he loves your lamp.
I love lamp.
Oh, the Geen lamp. Yeah, that's from Spellbound Effects also. Yeah.
Oh, cool. We should check that out.
Yeah, definitely check that out. So you guys do lives every week, and I know some people aren't a big fan of that, but how have they gone for you guys?
Pretty good.
We like talking to our subscribers. We don't want to feel like a person on a screen. You know what I mean? We want to feel like they can connect with us, and we're having a conversation, not talking at them, but discussing with them. And it's a process that we bring onto ourselves with our community. But there are a few issues, with lives. Like we did recently have somebody on our live who was talking longer than was appropriate. And then they left the chat, and Bob thanked them for their time, and they left the chat. And then the whole time in the chat, they were angry they didn't get a lot of time, and they didn't understand Bob talking with me because he was on his own little box. So they it got out of control.
Yeah, it was our second or third live.
Yeah.
Which I haven't really introduced myself too much. So this might be an introduction to some people.
Yeah.
But
with its face. Yeah.
Yeah, she was mad. We're talking about putting a timer on our lives now, and letting people call in and
up there or something.
That's a good idea.
So, but we're still experimenting with lives, but we like it because we wanted to, I wanted to give her a little bit more human,
interaction
aspect to it, because she on our video. She's robotic. There's a lot of editing going on.
Right.
And we just kind of wanted to reach out to people and say, hey, look,
we're just the same as you. Yeah. You know what I mean? I just don't want people to come after me like criminals. So that's why I wear this.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. I've been debating whether to do them. I haven't done any of them yet, but I know that you need to have some sort of moderator. So it's nice that you guys can do that together. I know my wife volunteered to do that for me, but that would be my only thing, is getting bombarded with that kind of crap while you're trying to do a live. I mean, it'd be weird.
We acquired some really good mods. Some of them are inexperienced, but my advice to you would be that there are two different kinds of moderators. So you only want your wife to be the managing moderator, and then you would have the other moderators, because your wife, being the managing moderator, she can go live, she can delete your content. So say somebody had bad intent and they became your moderator, content.
That's you don't want that. No.
So remember that.
That's good to know. That's definitely good to know.
This, tell her to remember it.
Okay. Right. No, that's definitely good to know. I'm definitely, when I do them, I'll probably do a couple of them by myself, and then eventually start getting guests on. So I'm sure we'll do more of this kind of stuff down the road. Anything coming up this year for the channel? Anything you guys wanted to talk about? A new case or anything we didn't discuss?
Well, we got a couple new series we're going to try out on some solved cases.
Awesome.
I also going to do a series. I'm going to try it out. I don't know how it's going to work, but I plan on maybe writing to a couple of serial killers to see if I get any kind of correspondence with them. and maybe read it in a live.
That'd be cool.
So we're experimenting, but that's pretty much what we're working on right now. We're still going to keep pumping out videos like we do. And
we do accept content suggestions as well. So we try to cater to what our audience wants to see or whatever. There's no way we're going to give up on Bryan Kohberger, but it's seemingly like at a standstill right now. You know what I mean? It's all like
the Delphi case. The Delphi case is, I can't even believe that it's possible for a case to be more screwed up than the Idaho 4. Mm-hmm. But I honestly think Delphi is like, hold my beer, because there's like people dying over there. Like a police officer got gunned down in front of an FBI office over this. I mean, like really crazy. Oh yeah. One of the police officers that felt the Odinists that were involved in that was very strongly in belief of that. And he was shot and killed right in front of an FBI office. So it's unbelievable what's going on in Delphi. And it's very similar to Idaho 4. I've been trying to tell people on my channel is go check Delphi out. I know it's an older case, you know, it's 7-8 years old now, but it's so worth the time because it's really messed up. And the same issue of a person behind bars that a lot of people don't feel did anything, you know, with some shaky evidence, police corruption.
He looks real rough. He's
in prison. They got him in a prison. Yeah. They don't have him in a jail. He's in a prison.
And from what I hear, when they talk to him, all he wants to know is if his family's safe.
Right.
And that's weird.
Because the guards were threatening him, saying that if he didn't admit to killing them in his calls to his wife and his mother from the prison, that they were going to hurt his family. So that's why he was paranoid about his family. It's awful. I mean, it's so off the charts. And this isn't even like makeup stuff, because when the defense brought it up, everybody's like, oh, this is absurd. And then 2 of the guards had to come forward and sign affidavits that said they were wearing the Odinist patches on their uniform. So it's like, how does a prison allow that, you know? And then the governor called and's like, okay, that's the end of wearing the patches on the uniform. And then the guy got it tattooed on his face. Yeah, and it's messed up. Yes, the guards. Yes, it's messed up.
Oh my God,
it's crazy. Horrible. It's worse. Like I said, I know Idaho 4 has got a lot of people all up in arms and interested, but I'm telling you, give Delphi a minute. Go check out some content on it, because there's just so much with that case. It's really fascinating, but it is terrifying. It really is. But anything else you guys want to plug? I really appreciate you coming on and talking with me. Anything else you guys wanted to mention?
I wanted to mention, in case anybody's new to our channel or doesn't know about our channel, we do have Easter eggs in every video. And Bob works very hard to put them there, and they're very respectful, sometimes funny, sometimes relate to other cases, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And we do have one subscriber that happens to find every single one of them. I don't know if he's like a mastermind or like this Norman Peterson, he gets everything. Like,
wow. I'll have to watch for him.
Yeah, so no cheating if you're looking, and then you're looking in the comments for Norman Peterson.
Oh, all right. I have to stay away from old Norm there.
Well, very
Well, I appreciate you guys doing this with me. It was a lot of fun. I knew it was going to be once we started emailing each other, and I knew I was going to have some fun with you. And so I do appreciate you guys coming on. Love what you do, and would love to do more stuff with you guys in the future. So don't forget about me if you want me to come on. And likewise, I'll get a hold of you about doing stuff with our longer format videos. So.
Great.
Yeah, for sure. Cool. And if you come on, then like on a panel, then you'll be the only person on the panel, I assure you.
Oh.
It won't be like 6 people, you know what I mean?
Oh,
that's
yeah.
not.
No, I don't mind.
And I just wanted to say, nice meeting you, man.
Yeah.
Like, I really have a lot of respect for you and your channel. I love what you're doing. It's great. I'm probably going to check out your books. I will be honest, I haven't read your books. I'm going to look into that.
I want to too.
And it was great meeting you, man. And I hope we gonna connect in the future, man. I feel it. So
yeah, I do too. I definitely do. So thank you guys very much.
Yeah, thank you,
and thank you for interviewing us. We totally appreciate it.
Sure. Every night in my dreams, I see you, I feel you. That is how I know you. Go on. Far across the distance, in spaces between us, you have come to show you. Go on.